the NFL's MVP. This award denotes who the most valuable player of the season was, essentially the best player that year in the NFL. It gets voted on, so this leaves room for bias. Players often end up feeling robbed and cheated. But if there was a flawless system of voting, where only the rightful winner won and no one could dispute it, how different would the last 10 MVP votes be? Who would be stripped of the honor and who would be vindicated? That's what we're going to do today. And to achieve this, we're going to have AIs vote for the MVP. We've asked ChatGPT, Gemini, DeepSeek, Grok, and Meta AI to give us their list of MVPs from 2015 to 2024 based on performance throughout the season and the impact they had on their team. We specifically told AI to ignore the real winners and give us who they think really deserved it based on this criteria. And boy, will the answers shock you. It made 4 different changes, and on 3 other occasions, a tie-breaking vote was needed. So let's start with 2015's MVP. Gemini voted for Peyton Manning, Meta AI voted for Cam Newton, Grok voted for JJ Watt, and DeepSeek chose Carson Palmer as its MVP. With 4 different AIs giving us 4 different names, ChatGPT's vote would be the tiebreaker, and it voted for Cam Newton, meaning the 2015 MVP remains unchanged. 35 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns, nearly 4,500 total yards, all with a receiving core held together by duct tape and dreams. No 1,000-yard wide receiver, no superstar tight end for most of the season after Greg Olsen got banged up. His top target became Ted Ginn Jr., a speedster known more for drops than highlight grabs. The result: the Panthers finished the season with a 15-1 record, one of the most dominant regular seasons in NFL history. Every Sunday felt like a demolition. ChatGPT voted Jared Goff as 2016's MVP, but Gemini voted Tom Brady. But Meta, Grok, and DeepSeek all voted for the same person, and it wasn't Goff or Brady. That's right. In a year where Tom Brady led the NFL in passer rating and lost only 1 game and gave up a career best 2 interceptions, he wasn't voted as the MVP by these 3 AIs. So, who could have surpassed this performance? Before we tell you who it is, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on videos like these. Meta AI, Grok, and DeepSeek voted for Matt Ryan. That's right, Matt Ryan had a better season than any quarterback in 2016. He torched defenses for 4,944 yards and 38 touchdowns, while tossing just 7 interceptions, posting a jaw-dropping 117.1 passer rating, the 5th highest single-season rating in NFL history. What made this so different? It wasn't just volume, it was efficiency. Ryan led the league with 9.3 yards per attempt, unmatched by anyone attempting over 400 passes. He also became the only quarterback ever to throw a touchdown to 13 different receivers in one season. And the timing? Legendary. Leading up to the Super Bowl, Ryan threw 18 with 0 interceptions over the final 6 games, guiding Atlanta to average a staggering 39 points per game. And to do this with a franchise that people hardly ever see as noteworthy is definitely noteworthy. The entire Falcons offense became a juggernaut. They led the NFL with 540 points scored, tied for the 7th most in a single season. This is the Falcons we're talking about, a team that's the butt of the joke every year when it comes to memorable performances. It takes a real MVP to change the narrative. 2017 was an interesting year. Brady took home the MVP title, but did he win it because he was actually good? Or was it because people liked him? It's a good thing AI doesn't have these types of sentiments, so let's find out if he really deserved the title. ChatGPT and Meta AI both voted for Tom Brady as the MVP of the 2017 season, but the other AIs didn't agree. Gemini voted for Todd Gurley, and so did Grok, as well as DeepSeek. So this makes our 2017 MVP Todd Gurley. Gurley tormented defenses to the tune of 1,305 rushing yards and 64 catches for 788 receiving yards. He was an elite dual-threat nightmare. He didn't just find the end zone, He owned it with 19 total touchdowns, the most in the league. He also led the NFL in scoring among non-kickers with 11 points. In Week 3, he hops into the backfield and rips off 3 touchdowns in the first half. This is something no Ram player has done since 2011. Then, Week 4, he breaks 121 yards on the ground and 94 through the air against Dallas, bagging NFC Offensive Player of the Week honors. But did he really deserve this award instead of Brady? Brady did reach the Super Bowl, while the Rams didn't make it past the wildcard round, and the Patriots had a better record compared to the Rams. But here's the thing. Todd Gurley taking the Rams to their first playoff in roughly a decade and a half is right there next to a well-aged Brady making a Super Bowl appearance. And not to mention, Gurley did everything in spite of the lackluster cast of players around him. Brady had one of the best offensive coordinators in the league and wide receivers who were at the top of their game. Gurley had less to work with, but he had the value to make a mediocre team look like a threat. AI definitely made the right call here. Let us know what you think in the comments section. The votes for the 2018 MVP were hotly contested. ChatGPT voted for Patrick Mahomes, but Gemini voted for Drew Brees, but Meta AI voted for Patrick Mahomes. If Mahomes gets voted just one more time, he's our 2018 MVP. But Grok's vote being Drew Brees meant it was up to DeepSeek to settle this. So with the last vote, DeepSeek chose the Kansas City signal caller. He erupted for 5,097 passing yards and 50 touchdowns, becoming only the second quarterback in league history to hit both marks in a single season. The only other guy who ever did that? Peyton Manning. And Mahomes did it in just his first full season as a starter. He turned the Chiefs into an offensive juggernaut, leading them to a franchise record 565 points and the #1 seed in the AFC. They steamrolled through the regular season and ended a decades-long drought by winning their first home playoff game since 1993. And to start drawing comparisons to Tom Brady showed just how highly people thought of Patrick Mahomes. For the 2019 MVP, Gemini voted for Russell Wilson, Meta AI voted for Lamar Jackson, Grok voted for Christian McCaffrey, and ChatGPT chose Michael Thomas as its MVP. With 4 different AIs giving us 4 different names, DeepSeek's vote would be the tiebreaker, and it voted for Lamar Jackson. So that means the 2019 MVP remains unchanged. Lamar Jackson's 2019 campaign was nothing short of cinematic, the kind of breakout that rewrote what we thought quarterbacks could be. He threw for 3,127 yards on 66.1% completion, delivered 36 touchdown passes against only 6 picks, earning a 113.3 passer rating. This was a mark that comfortably outranked the average MVP quarterback. But here's where it gets wild. He piled on 1,206 rushing yards, demolishing Michael Vick's previous QB rushing record, and all in just 15 games? The suspense built week by week as he led the league with both passing touchdowns and quarterback rushing yards, a feat only matched by Hall of Famer Steve Young, who did it with far fewer rushing yards. Baltimore's offense became a movie set. They became the #1 scoring offense at 33.2 points per game, top 5 in virtually every major offensive stat. As the season reached its climax, Lamar clinched the MVP unanimously, joining only Tom Brady as the only MVPs to win it this way in league history. And do the math. At 22 years, 358 days, he became the youngest quarterback ever to win the award. Ravens fans held their breath as that final announcement came down. It wasn't just a win, it was historic. But COVID-19 making 2020 shorter was also kind of historic. Ask anybody, and they'll tell you they wish COVID never happened so they could have gotten a better NFL season. But is that the only thing worth changing about the NFL season? What about the MVP title? Meta AI, Grok, and DeepSeek all voting for Aaron Rodgers meant that ChatGPT's vote for Aaron Donald and Gemini voting for Derrick Henry couldn't change things. I mean, The fact that a 37-year-old was still doing the things that Rodgers was doing alone was something. He threw for 4,299 yards, hit a jaw-dropping 48 touchdowns to just 5 picks, calling in one of the sharpest touchdown-to-interception ratios in NFL history. So, it's no surprise that he led the league in completion percentage and passer rating. But that wasn't real flex. 14 games with above 100 passer ratings meant no quarterback has ever registered more in a season. He was already touching Bob Dylan's level of greatness, and he had the entire NFL shook. Aaron Rodgers did go on to win the MVP title again the next year. Heck, he's the only person who won 2 consecutive MVP titles, but the AIs think 2021 should have had a different winner. Aaron Rodgers is the only player to win 2 consecutive MVP titles in the last decade. But does AI agree that he should have? ChatGPT picked Joe Burrow, Gemini had Cooper Kupp, and Meta voted for Jonathan Taylor. 3 votes so far, and no Aaron Rodgers in sight. Would Grok and DeepSeek pick the former Packers main man? The 2 AIs picked the same name, but here's the thing. They didn't vote for Aaron Rodgers. They picked Cooper Kupp. Come on, this should be a no-brainer. AP Offensive Player of the Year? An average of 115 yards per game while getting a triple crown? Even if we were to ignore the fact that he was the Super Bowl MVP, we can't ignore the fact that he practically took them there in the first place. Aaron Rodgers did have a remarkable season, but for an award that is biased in favor of quarterbacks, it's really rare you see a wide receiver make a challenge for the title, let alone in the fashion that Cooper Kupp did. But we still haven't seen the last of AIs giving the MVP title to someone who wasn't the real winner, and the 2022 MVP choice wasn't that simple. This looked pretty straightforward with ChatGPT and Meta AI both voting for Patrick Mahomes. But things took a turn quickly. Gemini voted for Jaylen Herz, but so did Grok. So was DeepSeek going to break the tie or give us a new name? Well, it did break the tie in favor of the Eagles quarterback, Jaylen Herz. He seized the spotlight with a season so dominant it practically screamed MVP. Hertz rushed for 736 yards, more than all but one QB in the NFL. He also scampered into the end zone 13 times on the ground. He also threw for 3,701 yards, dropping 22 touchdown passes while keeping interceptions to just 6. Mahomes' stats were impressive too. Leading the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns is something, but Jaylen was just a better dual-threat quarterback, and he had a better record as he lost just 1. And the Chiefs were already a high-value team. Jaylen Herz had to bring value to his team. The votes for 2023's MVP were very interesting. Meta voted for Josh Allen, Chat and Gemini voted for Christian McCaffrey. Grok voted for Tyreek Hill while DeepSeek chose Myles Garrett. So Christian McCaffrey is our MVP for 2023. Over 16 dominant games, CMC ripped off 1,459 rushing yards on 272 carries, an elite 5.4 yards per attempt, leading the entire NFL. He didn't stop there, add 564 receiving yards, and he finished with a jaw-dropping 2,023 scrimmage yards, which was the most in the league. Such dominance didn't go unnoticed. He was named NFL Offensive Player of the Year, won first-team All-Pro honors, and punched his ticket to the Pro Bowl. So he really did deserve the MVP title as well. For the 2024 MVP, Gemini voted for Justin Herbert, Grok voted for Saquon Barkley, and DeepSeek voted for CJ Stroud. There wouldn't be any ties because both ChatGPT and Meta AI voted for the same player, and it's someone that none of the 3 AIs mentioned, Josh Allen. And for him to do what we did with what he had, it deserves more than an MVP title. It deserves Hall of Famer shouts. The Buffaloes traded Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis, and Allen was the only star on his team, but he carried the weight of the entire franchise like it was nothing. Let's talk numbers. Allen threw for 3,731 passing yards, 28 touchdowns, while minimizing mistakes with a career-low 6 interceptions. But he didn't stop there. Oh no, he ran for 531 yards and 12 rushing touchdowns, pushing his total touchdown count to 41. At marks his fifth straight season with 40-plus total touchdowns, and he's the first quarterback in NFL history to maintain that streak. He clinched the Bills' fifth straight AFC East crown by Week 13. This is the earliest a team has clinched its division since Indy in 2009. So when he won the MVP title, it was more than deserved. He became the first Bills player to snag MVP since Thurman Thomas in 1991. According to these 5 AIs, there were 4 changes to the NFL MVP in the last 10 years. Todd Gurley got voted over Tom Brady in 2017, and Cooper Kupp took it over Aaron Rodgers in 2021. AI felt Jaylen Herz deserved it over Mahomes in 2022, and Christian McCaffrey over Lamar Jackson in 2023. Do you agree with these changes? Or did the AIs miss? Let us know what you think in the comments section.